How much money is actually enough? You will never be rich until you define that. What if I told you that there's a particular number, specific number meant for you, that if you get that number, you're going to remove 90% of your financial struggle? So today, we're looking at how much money is actually enough, and I'm going to tell you how to calculate it. We will do it right here together, and you'll calculate your number. The reason is, until you know that number, you will never be rich, as you're going to see in just a moment. You see, because most people run a race with no finish line. They keep making more money but never feel rich. How many of you have reached out to me? You are 45, you are 50, you are 52. You've been working for 25 years, for 30 years, and you look behind you, there's nothing to show for it, because you have been running this race and there's no finishing line, because you've never defined what enough is. So if you're running a race that has no finishing line, you are never going to complete that race. And that's why lots of people move into their 40s, into their 50s, into their 60s, carrying exactly the same struggle that they have known for the rest of their years. And I came to realize this myself in a very, very interesting way. And the moment I was able to define what that number was, now becoming rich became very, very easy. Now it was no longer a game of comparing myself to my neighbor, comparing myself to someone else, comparing myself to another person, because that number is very specific. When you define your enough, you feel very powerful. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, many of you are going to, just listening to this, you are going to experience incredible transformation in the way you look at your finances. You are going to experience incredible transformation, because there are people, I have people around me who earn $1 million and it's still not enough. They feel broke. There are people living in the highbrow areas, places that everybody wants to live in. In the United States, you have places in New York like that, in California, in Dallas, places like that. In Africa, you have places like Victoria Island. You have places like Lekki. So if you live in Lagos, Lekki is, for the big guys. When you talk about Lekki, then you go to Abuja, you go to Accra, you go to all these places. But many of the people living in those places are miserable. Type it in the comment section, because I said so. And if you know them, you know what I'm talking about. I know these people. I wine and dine with the mighty. And those people whom you see in the newspapers and the social media who live in Lekki, miserable. Why? Because it's like trying to diet without knowing your goal weight. All you are going to do is just keep starving yourself for no reason. That's what people do when they don't have their number. When you know your number, you stop feeling poor and start feeling powerful. Type it, every one of you, type it in the comment section. When I know my number, so you can call it your financial freedom number, if you like, or your enough number. If you do not know when is enough, look at even the way the human body works. There are mechanisms in the human body when you're eating that triggers off when it is enough, when you can have no more, when you can add not one more single spoon of rice. Your body has an automatic mechanism that shuts off, that tells you, oh, you've had enough water. You can imagine if you're drinking water, and you just keep drinking, because there's no system that turns it off, that tells you it is enough. That is exactly what is happening to so many people, okay? And then most people actually inflate their enough with wants, with all kinds of luxuries and status, social status. And, but true freedom starts when you separate needs from noise. Type it, everyone. True freedom, true financial freedom starts when you separate needs from noise. Make sure you type everything that I am telling you, because this is a coaching style video. And then I would like to know that you are interacting with me. I would like to feel that engagement. And by the way, if you haven't pressed that love button yet, please do. Press it right now. And then share it. Share this live. Let your spouse, let your children, let your colleagues, let your neighbors whom you care about hear these things. Hear these things, because financial freedom, we are complicating it. It's not as complicated as it is. And every day I find people in their 40s, in their 50s who are lost financially. And then when you look at it, you find that 85% of the problem is psychological. Not that they are not earning enough money, but because of the way they process money. So there are two things I've told you to write down. Okay? When you know your number, you stop feeling poor and start feeling powerful. I still haven't seen it. All right. Okay. So I see somebody live from Uganda. Great. Tell me. Go ahead and tell me where you're watching from. But more importantly, please type the things I'm telling you to type. Okay. When you know your enough number, you stop feeling poor and start feeling powerful. And secondly, true financial freedom starts when you separate needs from noise. So many people are hurting themselves because of so much noise around them. Okay? Because they do not separate the needs and the noise. Okay. So what's the problem here? The society trains you to want more. And I don't know anywhere this is as strong as it is in the United States. I don't know anywhere. I mean, those guys, I give it to them, in their marketing, in their behavioral economics, in their command, of marketing, of branding, of understanding how the human psyche wants. Because I can walk into a store in the United States, of course, with a card, or if you have $500 in your pocket, and that thing can disappear just like this. Especially if you walk into the gadget sections of the supermarkets, or you look at electronics, you find, as I'm looking at my table right there, there is a blood pressure monitor. In fact, when I got to CVS pharmacy, and the section on blood pressure monitor alone, massive section, different types, different gadgets. This one $80, this one $120, this one $50. You'll be so confused. You just stand there. It's like, which one am I going to buy? So the society conditions you to want more, even though I already had one. And there's so many things when I travel to the US, I keep buying them over again, even though I've already bought them. And there are some I have bought I don't use. Why? Because of the societal conditioning. It trains you to want more, but never ask more for what? That's the thing. The society trains you to want more, but it never trains you to ask more for what? More for what? Why do you want more clothes now? More clothes. Okay, I have it in red. I need to have it in green. I need to have it in blue so they can match this shoe I got in Dubai. I need more for what? Then you want to have that for what purpose? To what purpose? Okay? So the average person spends 40 plus years chasing a paycheck. Some of you are 50. You started working early, even while you were in school. You started working at 17, 18, 50 minus 18. That is 32 years. Yet you still feel empty. So the financial problems you are having in our society today is mostly psychology. It is not real. Many of you already have enough. Many of you are already financially free, but you don't know it because the society trains you. Okay, so I need you to understand that the average person spends more than 40 plus years of their lives chasing a paycheck only to realize too late they were aiming at the wrong target. In fact, you probably have heard the famous quote. I forget who said it at this time, but he said, you spend the first 40 years of your life accumulating riches, accumulating money, and then you spend the next 40 years of your life spending the money to become healthy. You spend it to become healthy, you know. So rich isn't a bank account, it is freedom. That's the definition of rich. Okay, it isn't a bank account, it is freedom. And freedom has a price tag. That's where we are going. And that price tag of freedom is your enough number. If you cannot define what enough is for you, you can never be financially free, no matter how much you earn. And it is not about jakbaing. You know, jakba is Nigerian slang for people who want to escape to Europe, to America, to Canada, to Libya, to different parts of the world to look for greener pastures. Many times, the grass looks greener at the other side of the fence. And many of you who have escaped to Europe are regretting. You're regretting. You sold your property here. You sold your property in your country. You sold your practice, your thriving practice in your country. Sold off everything and then moved over there only to start life again, like a janitor or somebody washing plates in the restaurants, even with your medical degree, working as assistant, you know, cleaning things in a laboratory and things like that. The reason was when you were in your country, you didn't even define what enough. And so now you are there, you still need to define what enough is. You're living in America, you're living in Canada, you're living in Malaysia, you're living in Germany, in the UK. You still need to define what enough is. Otherwise, you will never find it. Otherwise, you've never find it. I meet people, Africans, in the States. I was attending a conference by ESRI at San Diego a couple of years ago, and I met this Nigerian guy. The guy was now pursuing his 60s or something, and he'd been in the United States for 30 years, he told me, and he desperately wants to come back, and he's finding it difficult. Wherever you live in the world, before you leave that place to live to another place, define what your enough is. I can't stress this enough. Everybody type it in the comment section. Define what your enough is. Okay, everyone, type it in the comment section. I want to see that. Define what your enough is. Okay? All right, Adeola, I can feel you here. Adeola says, true financial freedom comes when you separate the needs from the noise. Absolutely. Okay? When you know your enough number, you stop feeling poor and start feeling powerful. Very good, very true. Michael says, true financial freedom starts when you separate needs from noise. Absolutely. And the Prime, Germany. Okay, watching from Germany. Greetings from Germany. Welcome, Andy. Good to have you here. Okay, and then Fabulous is watching from Somaliland. Excellent. Good to have you here. Yes, good evening, the Cookie Hunter. Right. Cookie Hunter says, define what my enough is. Helen says so. Everyone, I need you to type these things. I need you to personalize it. Define what your enough is. Hello, Pavin Global. Greetings as well. Where you watching us? Where you watching from this time? Put it there. Okay, and I'm going to tell you how to define what your enough number is. Okay, so pay very close attention. And then if you have your journal close by, please write this down. Okay, because the thing is, how do you define your enough number? And I'm going to give you a very simple formula. Yes. I'm going to give you a very simple formula to define what your enough is. Amorachi is watching from Nashville, Tennessee. Good to have you. Good to have you. Rio says, contentment is the key. Nothing is enough. Fantastic. You're already going ahead. And thank you very much. Yeah, contentment. Because if it is not there, you can never experience financial freedom. Okay, so that's why you have some of these rich and powerful Middle Easterners. We see their videos on TikTok. That's how I got to know. You know, some of my Arab friends, extraordinarily rich. They don't know what to do with money. And so they keep lions. Then they do all kinds of things. They do really all kinds of things. Because when you don't know what is enough and you don't even know what you're looking for, the money can never fill it. It's just like when we're growing up, somebody will say, especially the ladies, they say, oh, when I get married, I'll be happy. No, it starts with, when I finish my university and I get a degree, I'll be happy. I'll be happy. And then you graduate from the university and come out and you're not happy. You say, okay, when I get a good paying job with a multinational, when I get a good paying job with a multinational, I'm going to be happy. When I work with a bank, I'm going to be happy. Okay? Then you get a good paying job, like I did. I got with two multinationals, worked with Shell, and I worked with Chevron. And then you find that you're not happy. That something is still missing. You say, okay, when I get married, I'm going to be happy. Okay? Then you meet the Mr. Right, or you meet the wifey material, and then fantastic proposal is all there on social media, everybody enjoying that, and then a fantastic societal wedding, elite wedding. A week after that, you find that you're not happy. You will never be happy, whether it is with money or with relationships or with anything, or even with spirituality, until you define what enough is. So whatever you put your hand into, you must first of all define what is enough. Even when you invest in business or you start a business. Okay, so in business coaching, we call it exit strategy. In business, your enough is your exit strategy. Because there are some people who started businesses that they should have exited 10 years ago. And they are still in that business suffering because they didn't define what their enough is. Okay, Cookie Hunter is watching from Slovakia. Fantastic. Okay, good. So, what is the solution? Your enough number is equal to the exact amount where you can stop trading time for money. This is the aha. That's the moment you've been waiting for. If you can grasp this, everything will change tonight or in the morning. Those of you watching it, we are watching across different time zones. If you can grasp this and implement it, everything will transform for you overnight. Let me say it again. Your enough number is the exact amount where you can stop trading time with money. That's your enough number. I'm working with a business owner who is doing so much. He has many clients. His hands are so busy, and he's making money. But the thing is that he can never, that business can never run without him. That business can never run without him. So he can never experience enough. Okay? So your enough number is the exact amount of money where you can stop trading time for money. So you immediately begin to see that everybody's enough number is different. My enough number is completely different. No two people have the same enough number. This is why the ancient writer, spiritual writer, Paul, he said that those who compare themselves with themselves are not wise. And so if you can define your enough number and face your front and mind your business and forget what is happening in your neighbor's finances. Forget all these things you're reading on social media about all these social media billionaires who come to tell you and show you beautiful mansions in Dubai and show you Lamborghinis and all that. And then these people can put you into unnecessary high blood pressure. And by the way, surprise, surprise, most of those things are just flexing. They are not real. Most of those things are just flexing. They are not real. There are even places where content creators can go and pay a couple of dollars and take photos in private plane. And then you yourself, you'll be looking at them, that fake life, and killing yourself. But when you define your own enough number, forget all those people flying private jets. Forget all those. Their lives are not your lives. Is somebody getting value? Say so. Type value in the comment section. Type value. Because you see, this thing we're talking about becoming rich is wisdom. It's more of wisdom than it is money. It's more of wisdom than it's money. Type value, okay? All right. So now, how do you now calculate the number where you can stop trading time for money? Because what you want to do, especially if you're a business owner, is to put the structure in place to free you. Because the goal is to free your time. Because of what use is it? I see so many people, especially some of the traders, my local traders, Igbo men, very, very wealthy. Very wealthy. They bring in things from China. They make incredible turnover. At any point in time, they have containers in the high sea. Very, very busy. But these people don't have time. They don't have quality of time. They do not spend time with their wife and children. They are always in the shop. Always in the shop, selling, calculating money, going to the bank, talking to customers. Then by the time they arrive home, they are dead. So their children grow up, they never have their father do homework with them. They never have their father go to inter-house sports, attend the inter-house sports. They never have their father attend PTA meetings in their school. They never have their father go to meet with their teachers to discuss their progress. What kind of human being are you? That's not, so you might have the billions, but you're not free. That's why you've got to define your enough. Otherwise, you continue to do business, you continue to count money, but your life is worthless. Now, when the children now grow up, it's happening every day. They connect with their mother and not you. Because all the time they were growing up, you were always in the shop. You were always in the office. So many times, you find men in their 60s and 70s are very, very lonely, alone. Because when the children were younger, you didn't bond with them. You were busy counting money because you didn't define what enough was for you. You didn't define what enough was. So right now, in your old age, you are lonely and suffering. Okay, so let me give you a simple formula, a simple guide to define what your enough is. You can actually do it by yourself, just because it freed me so much. It cut out 90% of the hustle in my life because I found that, wait a minute, this is my enough number. I don't need to overexert myself pursuing money. I need to find my flow, get in my zone of that one thing that I'm very, very good at doing. And then through doing that and creating value for people, I can earn my enough and stop trading my time for money. All right, so here's the simple formula. Number one, add up your non-negotiable living costs. So there are non-negotiable living costs, okay? There's your rent, your housing, there's your grocery, food, there are all kinds of things, your utilities, there's non-negotiable. Money must flow, you must pay rent. Now, that's the first thing. Then multiply that number. So when you multiply your number, and I'm using dollars because this is an international community. So let's say that number, your non-negotiables, let's say that it is $3,000. Then you multiply that number by 1.3. Okay, because life isn't really a spreadsheet. Things do happen. So you multiply it by 1.3. That 0.3 represents the contingency. So if your non-negotiable living cost is $3,000, for instance, then you multiply it by 1.3. What's that going to be? So 3,000 times 1.3. Okay, can somebody do that very quickly? And so that's basically 30% of 3,000, which is 900. Is that correct? 30% of 3,000. So that's like $900 or something like that. So it's going to be something close to $3.9. Okay. So now you know $3,900. So now you know what to aim for, so that you can stop overshooting. This isn't rocket science, it's wallet science. What I just shared with you. Somebody type wallet science. Thank you very much. Timilane, yes, $3,900. Fantastic. Now, can you imagine if you now reduce your financial freedom number to say $5,000 in a month? That means if you can build $60,000 in the year, that you're not trading time for money. If you can build something, you see, because that's the way, that's the math that I'm following myself. I find that dividend returns, some really good dividend returns, like 5%, somewhere around 5%, maybe very, very high case scenario, like 10%. But it's like 5%. So I invested in Aradel. Aradel is currently $497, which is about 500. And Aradel by next month is paying dividend of 22. I'm trying to punch a calculator here, so somebody can quickly do it. So 22 naira to 500. So that can give you. So that would be roughly. Somebody calculate it so that I don't whatever. Maybe like 5% or something like that. Okay, 5% of 10% of 500. Is 50, and so 5% is like 25. So that's 5%. So let's say I'm targeting dividend yield of 5%, or best case scenario, let's say 10%. So it means that for me to earn $60,000, somebody help me with math here. So for me to earn $60,000 passively from a passive investment and all that, for that financial freedom number, that enough number that will take me off the they call it the rat race. So I find something I can invest, diversify in, that can produce. So $60,000 is 5% of something. So now I might not have $60,000 is 5% of so 600,000 is 10% of something, okay? And so that is 6 million. Okay, so 60,000 is 5%. Somebody help me with the math. 60,000 is 10% of 600,000, right? 60,000 is 10% of 600,000. And it is 5% of $6 million. So if I'm targeting a dividend yield of 5% per annum, it means that if I can invest 60 million, if I can invest 6 million, I beg your pardon, dollars, that I can retire for the rest of my life. Okay, so roughly. Now, I don't have $6 million, but what do? I continue to invest in these very high dividend stocks. So that is just one blueprint. There are many ways to make that money. There are many ways in the financial markets: crypto, forex trading, mutual funds, indexes. There are many ways to make that money. Treasury bills, bonds. There are some bonds right now in Nigeria that yield 17, 18%. So it's doable. So can you imagine, even if I want to do like low risk investments, like bonds, and I discover that 60,000 is my enough number, and I calculate, oh, wait a minute, how much can I invest in treasury bills or in bonds that can allow me to earn that money? When I do that, I can take up my second citizenship somewhere and be able to do things. So that's how to be strategic about your finances. Like I've been telling people that financial freedom is not an amount of money. For instance, I am not rich by any standard, but I am wise. And I'm telling you, because I'm wise, I live better than the rich. Because I'm wise, I'm able to live like a very wealthy people. So often people look at my lifestyle and they see me and they think I'm a very, very big wealthy person. The reason is I'm wise. Let me just give you one of my strategies. For instance, okay? Oh, Michael, 1.2 mil. Oh, thank you very much. That makes sense. 1.2 mil. Okay, thanks. So you can imagine. So if you do 1.2 million, then you can go to bed, in a 1.2 million into a low risk investment. Okay, so look at one of my strategies. I decided, for instance, my investment philosophy, that everything I use, I'm going to own. I'm not going to be a renter. That's my investment philosophy. So I invest in things I use. Especially things I use on a daily basis. Okay? So I use telecommunications on a daily basis. I use mobile phone on a daily basis. So I invested in the telecommunications. I use certain banks on a daily basis. So, and I invested. I became owner. So going from that owner's mindset, from that renter's mindset, just a user, to becoming an owner is so powerful. Now, a few days ago, I got the dividend from one of the banks. The dividend I got from that bank, I've gotten two dividends from two banks within the week. That's a lot. That's 6 figures in dividend. And which, of course, I've reinvested. I reinvested it today. I didn't spend 1 cent of it. I reinvested everything today. Now, but that dividend covers all the bank charges, all those bank charges that everybody's complaining about and all that. But because it's my bank, because I own stocks, shares in those banks, anytime they charge you, I make money, so I don't complain. The dividends they paid me cover all those charges 1,000 times. The same thing with the telecommunications I invest. I said, look, I use a cell phone every day. I communicate every day. I might as well buy the company now, and the dividends they pay me covers all my airtime, covers my data. Do you now see how just being wise and then creating a system and running a system makes you live like the wealthy people, even though you're not wealthy? I'm not wealthy. You've never seen me with a Lamborghini. You've never seen me in a big mansion. I'm not, but I live very wealthy. I live a wealthy lifestyle because of wisdom. Okay. So that is how to calculate your enough number and why it is important to calculate your number. So before we round off, I'm going to ask you to think about your number. All right, think about your number. I've given you the 3 steps to get your. So just do some very quick, rough and dirty calculation of your number, and then I would like to see your number in the comment section. What number is enough? one of the things you realize is that the number is actually lower than you think. The number is lower than you think. You've been overcomplicating it. I used to think, before I did this exercise for myself, I used to think I needed so much. I used to think I needed so much money every month. When I removed the noise, when I removed the comparisons, when I removed the flex culture on social media, when I got my eyes off that, just strip bare what my enough number is, money. Ladies and gentlemen, I shocked myself. See, for instance, I eat once in a day. I eat once in a day at my age. And then all those suits I have in my wardrobe, I don't even use them. And I've not, since this year, this is April, I've never needed to make any new clothes. Okay? And so I eat that once in a day. I sleep on one bed. I mean, I don't really know what's complicated. So I have one truck, which I use to do my farm work and then also move around. And then, I fly once in a while and things like that. What I've just counted for you, it's not $10,000. It's not $5,000. It's not even $2,000 in a month. So we always think we need more than we actually need. And that's where the problem is. Because you've not defined what is enough. You can't be contented. And because you can't be contented, you can never be financially free. Okay? So the trap is that the system wants you to keep chasing more. Every day you are encountering ads, social media, friends will make you feel poor. If it has happened to you, how many of you watch something on social media, or you watch something, your friends go shopping in Dubai or something and come back and you start feeling sorry for yourself? If it has happened to you, just say me. Type me. You see, some of your girlfriends that you move around with, all of a sudden, you just see this one, she's taking pictures in London. And then she's taking pictures in Paris, posting online. And then she enters a Louis Vuitton store, buys a bag. And then when she steps back into the country, you start feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah, somebody says me. If it has happened to you, just say me. You just say me. It's happening every day. And especially for some reason, for our ladies, all those women show you all those things. And you do not know. You do not know. Then you start feeling sorry for yourself. You start feeling sorry for yourself. Okay, so the gathering cloud says, how about your family? Yes, you include your family in all that. And it's good you answer that. So in my own case, all our children are out home. They are out from home and then living by themselves, making their decisions and really doing well in the world. So it's mostly my wife and myself now. But that's a good question. So of course, you've got to add that one. Okay, your family. Very good question. Thank you very much for asking that. Okay. Renan says, that's why I stopped using Instagram. Absolutely. Social media can make you feel poor when you are not poor. So the system wants you to keep chasing more. So the ads come and make you feel poor. But if you don't pick your enough, capitalism will pick it for you. Put it down, put it down, put it down. Somebody type it in the comment section. If you don't pick your enough, capitalism will keep it for you. Will pick it for you. And capitalism is always $1 more. $1 more. You see what's going on with our politicians? When I wrote my first book in 2008, I actually defined poverty. And then in that book, I did mention, that was way back 2008, that the poorest people I've ever seen are politicians, Nigerian politicians. They never say enough. And it's never enough. And once they get in now, because it's like the most profitable industry in Nigeria and many parts of Africa is politics. Extremely lucrative, with, of course, with a question mark. And once they taste that blood money, they never want to get out of it. So you see people who have no business, calling themselves leaders, but they're in politics for the money, and yet it is never enough. So a man finishes as a governor, 8 years as a governor, and then as a governor, he has cornered billions to himself. Billions to himself. Now you will think after 8 years that with the billions that he has cornered, like literally billions, that he will find somewhere and pack and relax and enjoy the rest of his life. No, but no. They go from being governor to becoming senator. And then they continue the thing. Is that one life? Is that life? Is that what, So if you look at many of them who are senators, they were former governors, 8 years. Then they're senators, 8 years, another, and then they just continue like that because they've never defined what enough is. How many beds do you sleep in? How many rooms can you sleep in a night? How many types of soap will you use to take a bath? What kind of creams? How many creams, are you going to use in a day? All right, so if you don't pick up your enough, capitalism will pick it for you, and it's always $1 more. Okay, so the richest people aren't those who make the most money. They are the ones who need the least. So when I read Paul's writing a lot, because I love him. I love the way the man's mind worked. He said, listen, I have learned, and people often misquote him because they don't even understand the context for which he said that. He said, I have learned in whatever condition, whatever situation I found myself, I have learned to abound, so whether in plenty or in lack. He said, I've learned to be satisfied. I've learned not to peg my value or my identity to whether things are enough, whether things are plenty or it is low. And that's where he said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And people just quote it out of context, but that's what he was actually saying. So I have dined with the rich and mighty and powerful. I have dined at least twice or 3 times with the top 10 richest, wealthiest individuals in the country. I have also trekked with the poor because I've been one myself. I've lived in the slum. And today I associate with them. I associate with the poor. So I learned to be with mentally deranged mad people, roaming around, parts in Africa and all that. I go sit beside them because I got instruction to give people who are mad, For those of you watching from Europe or from America, you may not understand because you have mental health institutions, proper institutions to care for those who, but in most parts of Africa, they just roam the streets, eating from garbage cans and things like that. And then I've learned to be able to sit with those people. Some of them have not had a bath for 10 years, 15 years, and to give them food. But I've also learned, so I have used 5-star hotels. I've also used 0-star, and all that. And it makes no difference. It doesn't change my identity. It doesn't change whether I'm with very, very poor people, I'm playing with them, or I'm dining in the same room with Dangote, Aliko Dangote, GMO, Tony Elumelu, and others. It doesn't change who I am. It doesn't affect my identity. And then I don't peg my self-worth and self-esteem to money or to any material thing. Okay, so I can see people are dropping their numbers. Fantastic, yes. Clement said it's sad, but it's true. Yeah. Some milkmaid says, I wish I knew how to make grits. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Okay. Brandilio says, my man, it's almost as bad here. I live in San Diego, California, and they're eating out of the trash here too. It's terrible, Brandilio. San Diego used to be my favorite city in the US. I just love the cross culture in San Diego. You know, you can eat Spanish food, you can eat Thai food, you can eat Italian. There's a particular street right there close to the San Diego Convention Center. And then different cultures, the dining's wonderful. Yeah, but in recent times, when the last time I was in San Diego a couple of years ago, yeah, I could see what you're talking about. It's and it looks like it's a problem in most parts of California. Yeah, so it's really, really sad, you know, that it's that way. Yeah, but the best way we can help poor people is for us not to be poor ourselves. Okay, so if you want me to help you with your finances, that we run the Financial Fitness Challenge is my mentorship group. So a lot of people are not able to access me one-on-one, but so I run this group mentorship every month now, and we are currently enrolling. And there are basically three things that we do in the Financial Fitness Challenge. Number one is to help you to actually understand your financial situation. Because you see, you cannot tell where you are going if you don't know where you are. And then you will never hit it if you can't even articulate what's your net worth. What has been working in your life financially and what hasn't been working? You know, just to sit down to have awareness of your finances. Many people have zero awareness of how money has been working in their lives. What are the behaviors, the habits, and things that have been sabotaging you? So we help you articulate that, to define where you stand. The second thing that we do in the Financial Fitness Challenge is now, having understood where you are, to get clarity about what financial freedom means for you as a person, not any other person. What is that number? And then the third thing we do is, how do you now create customized strategies to help you get there? So we look at different vehicles: financial markets, entrepreneurship, careers, and all kinds of things. So it's a very intimate, very, very intimate program. So at the end of this live, you're going to get in the a WhatsApp number in the description. I will also give it to you right now to join, to enroll, and then we can send it. Just say, send me the payment details. It is just 125,000 Nigerian naira, roughly $125. And then, but we're running an early access session right now. So you're going to get it for 105,000 Nigerian naira, which is roughly 105 US dollars. So to enroll, because we're already running, when you join the group, you're going to have worksheets that can help you define these things. And then I'm going to be having a chance to talk with you, to look at your worksheets and to be able to make recommendations to help you. And then we also talk about the stock market, because I believe that everyone should play in the financial market. There are 4 kinds of market, but people only know the labor market. That's where 99% of people live and stay. But the financial markets hold more than 99% of the wealth in the world. And you really need to know how to play in the financial market, the stock market, the forex, cryptocurrencies, bonds, mutual funds, and all these different derivatives, financial derivatives. Most people who are making money in the world are actually making it in the financial markets, not in the labor market. All right, so we talk about all these things and then help you to craft like a 90-day implementation strategy to transform your finances. So the WhatsApp number to send message, don't call, it doesn't receive calls, but it can receive WhatsApp message. The WhatsApp message number to send a request for the enrollment and payment details is +234, and somebody can type it for other people in the comment section, +234 8088 000 111. So let me say it again. +234 8088 000 111. All right. So let me take a few comments and a few questions, and then we can sign off tonight and continue at exactly the same time tomorrow. Okay. Red Wine says, please, what is your name and what is this all about? Okay. So my name is Ogbo Awoke Ogbo. I am passionate about, because of the struggle I've had in my finances. I'm going to be 60 this year. I did not have a very good relationship with money, even though I had the best career anybody could imagine. Working with Shell twice. I started my career with Shell, and then Chevron offered me nearly 3 times what Shell was paying me. I left Shell to work with Chevron, the oil and gas company. And 6 years into Chevron, Shell came back and offered twice what Chevron was paying, and I went back to Shell before I left to do this. Now, even though I've had all that experience, I struggled with finances because nobody ever taught me. We were never taught through my postgraduate degrees, through my secondary school and university. People didn't teach me about finance. And I find people who are in their 40s and 50s and they're totally financially illiterate. So this is about financial literacy and also financial implementation. And so we talk about 3 kinds of fitnesses. There's the spiritual fitness, which is helping you to understand what your purpose is, who you are, your identity, so that you can connect and live on point. Because if you live outside of your identity, you can never be happy. If you live outside of your purpose, you're going to be frustrated. So that is spiritual fitness. Then second fitness is physical fitness. No matter how rich you are, if you are not physically fit, you can't move your body, you don't have mobility, you are obese, you have diabetes, you have all these kind of chronic health issues, you're not going to be happy. And you're not going to live up to your potential as a sick person. So we also talk about physical fitness. And then the third kind of fitness is financial fitness, which is the financial fitness challenge I just told you about. Making your money work for you, to stop becoming a slave for money, to start becoming a master, so that you can create enough abundance in your life to focus on your purpose and identity and fulfill your calling, instead of all this 9 to 5 grind every day, exchanging your time for money. Okay, so that's what this is about. I hope you're excited about it, Red Wine. Clement says, so how do you invest in the bank's dividend in Nigeria? Okay, so I have videos to that. I have videos. So you can send me a message and I will send you how to do that, okay? Michael says, which app do you use for stocks investing? And if you don't mind me asking. So for the American stocks, I use Bamboo, and Bamboo is very good. But for the Nigerian stock market, which is actually my favorite, I do most of my investing there. I've been investing in the Nigerian stock markets for the past 21 plus years. And it's been perhaps the best thing that has happened to my finances, not even the career I had with the multinationals. So for that, I use licensed stockbrokers. So I also have videos that tell you how to open that. Okay? Yes, I use FSDH. Okay? Very good. And Mio Min Hein, I hope I pronounce your name well. You're watching from Myanmar. All right. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that and hit the notification bell so that every time I come on live, you can receive the notification. So please do that right now. And do share this video and do give it a like so that the algorithm can make it available to people who understand it. So until this same time tomorrow, my name is Ogbo Awoke Ogbo, and whatever happens, whatever happens, ladies and gentlemen, don't be discouraged. Just keep showing up. Keep showing up because you have no idea what's coming your way next. And I'll see you in the next video.